53-man roster has been submitted by the Chicago Bears, and we get to find out who actually made the 53-man roster this year. It was a very tough competition at camp this year, guys. There was a ton of potential roster cuts. It was the deepest team we've had in a long time for the Chicago Bears, and we finally get to see who made the 53-man. Again, this is still in flux. Things can happen. The Chicago Bears can be all over the place still, making moves. Other teams get cut, and they find out who they may want still from other teams that might not have made it. So we're going to kick off with just who got cut out of the gate. But hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Excited to bring you guys this 53-man roster, and I cannot wait to see exactly who the Chicago Bears ended up cutting. But before we begin today's show today, if you haven't already, if you please could hit that like button on this video if you're excited for the 53-man roster and what is next for the Chicago Bears team, along with commenting how you think this Bears team is graded. Again, this was one of the toughest rosters to make in recent memory, so make sure you comment below what you think the roster grade is overall. It could be an A through F, whatever you guys want to say. Throw it in the live chat right now. And if you haven't already, if you please could hit that subscribe button and help us hit 18,000 before week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. So let's just jump into it, guys. We have almost all the official roster cuts for the Chicago Bears in here at the moment, waiting for the official word from the team. So let's go through the cuts right now to kind of kick things off. Going from releases first. So releases are players that were automatically free agents out of the gate. They did not have to wait around. They don't hit the waiver wire. They are able to go and start looking for a team right away after being released. The first one was tight end Tommy Sweeny, who the Bears had a ton of tight ends. He did have a few good preseason games, but unfortunately, he just couldn't make the last of the roster cut. And then on top of it, you have wide receiver Freddie Swain, who pretty much didn't get any sort of playing time at all. It's unfortunate that he didn't make it, but he didn't get enough opportunity, or he didn't make enough of the opportunity he was given. So that's why he was cut. The big shocker one was quarterback Brett Rypien, who had that huge Hall of Fame game and then another huge game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was also released by the Chicago Bears today. I was a little bit shocked by this move, and I honestly thought Austin Reed was going to stay on the roster, but he didn't make it either. I'm going to go to that in a little bit. So Brett Rypien was one of the first guys, big names, that got released from this roster. He's currently a free agent, but could come back to the practice squad. Again, any of these guys can come back. And then another big shocking release with defensive back Greg Stroman Jr., a very packed defensive back room. Was a little bit shocked by this one. He was the savior of that Commanders game last year and the Bears' huge win on Thursday Night Football. And then he also had a really solid preseason as well. So those are the 4 guys that have been released. They were not put on the waiver wire. They can get picked up at teams at any single moment as of right now. Now let's go into the waiver wire for the Chicago Bears. Who exactly is still technically able to be on this ball club? We have to wait to see if other teams claim them. So we have to go to the waiver first before the Chicago Bears can go out and potentially bring them back to the practice squad. To start, quarterback Austin Reed was another guy that was placed on waivers today, hopefully coming back to the practice squad. It would have been crazy that we had 3 rookie quarterbacks, 2 being undrafted rookie free agents and 1 being the first overall pick. Then you had offensive guard Jatri Carter, one of Ryan Pohl's first draft picks a few years ago. He was put on the waiver wire as well. Was a little shocked by that. He did have a pretty solid preseason, and it looked like he was going to make this squad. But overall, he might come back to the practice squad. He's on the waiver wire at the moment. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin, a free agent that we brought in, just didn't get enough playing time. Offensive lineman Jake Curhan is on the waiver wire still at the moment, a veteran from the Seahawks that knows Shane Waldron's offense pretty well. He also did not make this official 53-man roster cut, so he might be a practice squad guy. We'll see in a little bit what ends up happening here, but doubtful since he did have a nice preseason. I see him getting picked up by another team. Then offensive lineman Aviante Collins, a guy that we brought in last year. Maybe he'll make the practice squad team. Again, any of these guys can possibly make the practice squad team. There's no denial of that. So we'll end up seeing what exactly happens after that. Going into a little bit more, then we had defensive tackle Keith Randolph Jr., an undrafted rookie free agent out of Illinois that had a lot of hype for being able to get to the backfield and make a lot of noise. He also did not make the roster initially. Again, going through the wave guys right now. I know we're getting a ton of people joining the chat right now, so thank you guys for tuning in. We're going through who has been cut and waived at the moment for the Chicago Bears. Comment who you're most shocked by so far from what you've heard. Again, we're going to get into the 53-man in a little bit. And then defensive tackle Jaylon Hutchings, who we brought in as an undrafted rookie free agent out of Texas Tech. He literally only had a couple weeks to make a case for himself. He did not make this team either. Defensive tackle Michael Dwumfour did not have enough gas in the tank in order to make this roster. But a really shocking one to me is this one right here. Defensive tackle Byron Cowart. I know that we brought in Chris Williams in a trade this past weekend, so obviously you're going to prioritize that over everybody else. I was a little shocked by this move, though. I'm not going to lie. I thought he had a pretty nice preseason, to say the least. Overall, Chris Williams coming in, who knows Matt Eberflus's defense a little bit better. He just didn't end up making the cut. Defensive tackle DaShaun Mallory, a local Chicago kid, probably going to come back to the practice squad. Edge Khalid Kareem did not make this team either. He's currently on waivers. I thought he had a nice preseason, but unfortunately did not make the cut. Linebacker Javin White did not make it. Linebacker Colin Johnson, who's expected to come back on the practice squad. Make sure you guys look out for that. Solid dude, big and fast, valuable special teamer. I see the Bears putting him on the practice squad to keep him around. Defensive back Quindell Johnson, defensive back Leon Jones, safety Adrian Colbert did not make this roster either, which I honestly, after his Kansas City Chiefs game, truly shows how deep this room is. And unfortunately, he did not make it either. So we'll see what ends up happening with him. I could see another team coming in and picking him in, but we had a super deep defensive back room, guys. So can't deny that's a good problem to have. Herb Howard said it himself. This was a good problem to have when you're releasing a strong veteran like him. Then wide receiver Peter LeBlanc did not make it. Wide receiver John Jackson, who's Caleb Williams' best friend from USC. He's likely going to be on the practice squad. One that a lot of people were upset about that I see the reason why was wide receiver Colin Johnson did not make this roster. This hurt a little bit because Bears fans, besides that Hall of Fame game, he really didn't do much. It was just exciting. It was the first week of the preseason. Obviously, people wanted to see things happening. But Colin Johnson was initially waived by the Chicago Bears, expected to come back on the practice squad, though. Tight ends, Stephen Carlson was also on the waiver wire. Shocked by this because, our tight end room currently right now is Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and Mercedes Lewis. I'm about to bring up the official roster in a couple minutes here. But yeah, we only have 3 guys at the moment. Stephen Carlson was waived, likely to come back as well, according to reports. And then punter Corliss Waitman, who did a fantastic job. Just want to put out there, if we didn't have Torrey Taylor, he was better than Trenton Gill. He definitely would be picked up somewhere, someone that needs a punter later this season, or if there's an injury of some sort. He had some booming kicks. So shout out to him right there. Going a little bit more into the reserve/IR, we put Ian Wheeler, running back Ian Wheeler, on injured reserve. Not sure exactly the extent of the injury, but clearly he did a good job. He had a lot of big plays for the Chicago Bears, so he is going to be on this roster at least for the next couple of weeks. He is on injured reserve, so we're using one of the spots for him. Wide receiver Nsimba Webster, who had a huge game against the Kansas City Chiefs, also a very good returner as well. Had surgery today because he is on IR. It went very well according to his Twitter, so happy to hear that from him. But he is also on IR. Defensive back Douglas Coleman III, who had that scary injury against the Chiefs, was also put on IR. Really happy that the Bears did that with him, and also happy to hear that he's doing well. He is walking. He's doing well overall. They didn't explain the exact extent of the injury. At least I couldn't find it. But Douglas Coleman is on Bears IR. And then this one was shocking today. Patrick Scales, our longtime long snapper, was placed on injured reserve. He will be out for at least the first 4 weeks. I didn't find the exact extent of the injury. Rumors were going around that it was something with his knee, but he's not on the 53-man roster at the moment. The Bears have room. He is in IR, so interesting to see there. But the Bears, they made a lot of moves. That right there alone, if I'm doing some darn good math correctly real quick for you guys, that was a total of over 30 moves for the Chicago Bears. So pretty interesting to say the least. Let's go to the team site right now and see exactly who is on the Bears 53-man roster. So pulling up chicagobears.com real quick. And guys, I'll go through the comments in a section. I see you guys are really starting to blow things up. Wow. Okay. We got a lot of people in here right now. So thanks for tuning in. Let's go into who we for sure locked in on the 53-man roster for the offensive side of the ball. So Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent will be the Chicago Bears quarterbacks for this upcoming season. Again, Brett Rypien and Austin Reed were waived and / released, so they might be on the practice squad. Running back DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, and Rashawn Johnson are currently the running backs listed that I'm able to find. Fullback Kareem Blasingame. We only have one fullback on the roster at the moment. From a wide receiver room perspective, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Tyler Scott are currently the wide receivers that I'm finding so far. I'm not seeing Velus Jones. I'm not sure if they're putting him in the running back room or the wide receiver room. I'm going to come back to that in a little bit for you guys. Tight end Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, Mercedes Lewis are the current 3 confirmed tight ends for the Chicago Bears. Brendan Bates has not been confirmed to be released yet. He actually liked one of my tweets earlier, talking about how I hope he makes the roster. Oh, wow. Okay. Big news. Okay. So the Bears actually terminated the contract, according to Brad Biggs, of fullback Kareem Blasingame, a vested veteran. But the plan is to bring him back. The team is expected to re-sign him for the same amount after it processes as an IR move. Okay, so they're terminating the contract of Kareem Blasingame, but he will not be on the 53-man roster out of the gate. Let's see if the Chicago Bears website has released the official 53-man roster. Not seeing that so far. That's crazy. I mean, like it's supposed to be public knowledge at this point. Bears. Okay, let's see. Okay. Bears have not. Oh, no. So Kareem Blasingame his contract has been terminated by the Chicago Bears, but he's expected to come back. Okay, so he will be on the Chicago Bears. Obviously, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Tyler Scott will also be on the Chicago Bears, according to the reports that I'm reading right now. Man, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I wasn't expecting Kareem Blasingame to go on IR. So something must be up there, at least for week 1 against the Titans. Going a little bit more into the offensive line, Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Karan Magaji, from a tackles perspective are confirmed. Offensive guard, Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis, and Matt Pryor are confirmed. Center, Coleman Shelton, Ryan Bates, and Doug Kramer Jr. are confirmed, according to the reports that I'm seeing right now. Wow. That's pretty crazy, to be honest with you guys. So the offense still isn't completed at this moment. There's still more moves that are going to happen for the Chicago Bears, but that is what I'm reading right now. So you have your starting quarterbacks, you have your running backs, you have your wide receivers, tight ends, most of your starting offensive tackles, and one depth guy at the moment. Matt Pryor can also play guard and tackle, and then obviously Ryan Bates can play guard and center. So the Bears right now, looking at it from a confirmation standpoint, only 9 offensive linemen. There's got to be 2 more in there somewhere, so stay tuned for that. We'll pick it up in a little bit for you guys. Before we get into a little bit more of the 53-man official roster, I'm going to go back to the offense in a little bit. I would like to thank today's sponsor, BetUS. BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino is one of the biggest online sportsbooks and casino in the United States, and they have some fantastic lines for our Chicago Bears at the moment. Really excited for what this team has to put in forth, especially from the BetUS perspective. And they already have the line out right now for Bears versus Titans. Currently, the Bears are favorited at -205, a total of 43.5 points, and a spread of 4.5. So make sure you guys go to the link in the description now to set up for your BetUS account. And obviously, you get a 125% match bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. Link is in the description. Make sure you go and check that out now. So the 53-man roster, broke it down as much as I could for you guys at the moment. Let's go into, wow, the Packers placed A.J. Dillon on injured reserve. That's just a little sneaky way that the teams are going to do that. Before we get a little bit more into today, let's go over to the comment section real quick. Shout out to you guys all for tuning in to begin the day. I really appreciate you guys. Keep throwing your comments and your thoughts in the live chat right now, to kind of, get things going, show your excitement about this team. But it's pretty crazy. We got a Bear down from Spain too, which is really exciting. In regards to Ian Wheeler, guys, I see why the Bears did this move. They obviously wanted to keep him. They do see a lot of potential in him, but they had to do what they had to do. And also what's crazy is that we're probably going to see a lot of this on Hard Knocks tonight, everything that was happening today. So that Hard Knocks crew has to be going absolutely crazy right now in order to get, this footage and break everything down for everybody. But super exciting times for the Chicago Bears. Let's go back to the 53-man roster for you guys very quickly, at least from an offensive perspective. Keep throwing your thoughts in the live chat right now. I'm excited for Hard Knocks tonight, guys. It's going to be pretty awesome. Again, I don't know why the Bears haven't released the official roster yet, but happy you guys are here because we're going to be live exactly when it happens. Going through a little bit more of some of my notes that I have. Obviously, not a surprise that Tevin Jenkins made this roster. Nate Davis, I think, was a little bit nervous for a bit to make this official 53-man roster. So all things good from that perspective. Coleman Shelton obviously deserved it. I know that there was some rumors going around that the Bears were going to go out and potentially get another center that probably would get Doug Kramer off the roster, but no worries there. Quickly want to go through then while we're here, guys, before we get the rest of the roster. I haven't heard about Travis Homer yet. He hasn't been released according to reports, so all good there. But so let's go over to the defensive 53-man roster at the moment. We have Andrew Billings, Javon Dexter Sr., Zach Pickens, and Chris Williams as our defensive linemen at the moment. Edge, we have Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Austin Booker, Darrell Taylor. At the moment, I'm really hoping Daniel Hardy makes this roster. I haven't seen that he's been released yet. So the Bears are probably figuring out their final kinks of how they're doing the IR, but things have been submitted to the league. They just haven't been officially announced yet. From a linebacker's perspective, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, and Aben Maga and Micah Baskerville apparently made this roster. So I'm really excited about that because he had a hell of a preseason. I'm going to get that to the official one in a little bit for you guys. Cornerback, Jaylon Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back, Kyler Gordon, safety, Kevin Byard, and Jaquan Brisker and Elijah Hicks, all there. A lot of bubble guys right now. Reedy Stewart is apparently still on this roster. Josh Blackwell, Terrell Smith. The defensive back room is packed, guys. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening. Let's see. There's been nothing. Man, this is crazy. This was supposed to be released by now. So that's the defense right now. So there's still a lot of roster spots open that I haven't named exactly yet, but we've got some things going on here right now. There are moves happening. Like we just put Blasingame on IR or terminated his contract, re-signing him technically. So that's another roster spot filled. Practice squad guys so far that I'm at least hearing about is Austin Reed, Carl Jones, Brendan Bates, Stephen Carlson, John Jackson, Colin Johnson are the practice squad guys at the moment that are apparently coming back to the Chicago Bears if they clear waivers. The Bears are hoping that happens. All right, let's go through a little bit more. Again, welcome to the show, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. We're still waiting on the Bears 53-man official roster to drop. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. If you're happy with how this preseason went, along with commenting who you hope makes this roster and who you're happy has made this roster, along with any cuts, comments, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, help us hit 18,000 before week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. And also, guys, we are having our first official viewing party this upcoming September 15, 2024, Bears versus Houston Texans at Rizzo's Bar and Inn in Wrigleyville, presented by Freshie and Authentico Tequila. It's going to be a hell of a time. 350 tickets are available. We've already sold over 100 of them, so we hope to see you guys there. Your $20 ticket gets you into the door along with a margarita and a donation to charity. Make sure you go to the link in the description to get your ticket today before they run out. All right, so let's go back to the 53-man offensive roster. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. Shout out to you guys. Let's see if there's any new news on our Chicago Bears, guys. Okay, there's Twitter notifications, so that's always a good sign. Wow. There's been a lot of different moves. Like a move right here is Louis Klein from the Minnesota Vikings. Was released by Minnesota Vikings, a former first-round pick. That is absolutely crazy. Miles Murphy, a guy that the Bears were going to take as on the IR for return. Defensive tackle Christian Barmar on the Patriots, who I thought about trading this year, is on the NFI list. So thank God we didn't go with him. Wow, the Bears are really taking their time, guys. Sorry about that. I mean, it said 3:00, so I wanted to make sure I was on here ready for you guys to go in order to go. Thoughts on Micah Parsons? I would like him to come to the Chicago Bears. Obviously, if the opportunity arose, we're going to take a lot. I dropped a video about it earlier. I think it's a good opportunity for Chicago. They will have to give up a lot. But if they end up getting Micah Parsons, you're setting up the team for years of success. I'm not even kidding with that. He's young. He's 25. You pay him. You have longevity with him. So overall, the Bears could definitely use him. I would love for the Bears to get him. It's going to cost a pretty penny, but yeah, it's crazy. How many confirmed spots for the 53-man roster, 53 for the Chicago Bears roster? For the watch party, there will be 350 total spots total. We already have 100 sold. So hope you guys can make it. We are no longer the division formats of the division. Couldn't agree more with that statement, by the way. All right. So shall we go through the cuts again for you guys? What is up with the Chicago? I want to actually go through a couple of these cuts because I'm kind of shocked by a few of them. Adrian Colbert was obviously a shocking one. Adrian Colbert had a really good preseason, so there could be a shock or two more that the Bears have in store for here. I really liked him too. I thought he was a good veteran to have, especially from a safety perspective. Also was still really, really shocked by Jake Curhan, our offensive lineman. He knows Shane Waldron's offense. He didn't have a bad preseason at all. I thought he was a solid player. I really liked when the Bears brought him in. He could come back on the practice squad, I guess. But at the end of the day, you got to have veterans on this roster in case people go down. And we haven't had anything released yet. So, Jesus, I don't know. That was one move that really threw me. I want everyone to comment right now, if you haven't already, what's one shocking move that the Bears have made that's been officially announced that you did not agree with? I know a lot of people did not like Adrian Colbert. A lot of people did not like Brett Rypien or Austin Reed. I was shocked by both of them. But let's hear in the thoughts right now, or in the comments, live chat right now, what you guys are thinking. So quickly going to go for the releases again for you guys, because we do have 302 people from a releases standpoint, which means they were free agents the second the Bears released them. Tight end Tommy Sweeny, who's a veteran who played for a few teams prior. Wide receiver Freddie Swain, who was not really a big name in Chicago. He didn't really do much, so he was released. Quarterback Brett Rypien, which I was a little bit shocked by, was another release. He can go to any team at any moment. He knows Shane Waldron's offense, so I was a little bit frustrated with the fact that we got rid of him, but it is what it is. Defensive back Greg Stroman was another big release. He could go to any team and practically almost be a nickel starter anywhere. Really solid stuff. I like Greg Stroman. I hope he can come back. I don't think he'll be on the practice squad, though, because he's got the talent to be on a 53-man roster for sure. From a Waived perspective, so these guys hit the waiver wire first. Quarterback Austin Reed was wavered as well, and I was shocked after Brett Rypien got released. Offensive guard Jatri Carter, I was shocked by this one too. This is one of the first guys that Poles drafted. He was also put on the waiver wire. So anyone that I'm naming right now can end up coming back to this team as a practice squad player. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin, Jake Curhan, who I was shocked by, veteran status, no Shane Waldron's offense, was a starter in Seattle for a few years. Was a little bit shocked by that. Offensive lineman Aviante Collins was also put on waiver wire. Defensive tackle Keith Randolph Jr., a lot of hype behind him before the season began. Was hoping to be a total steal. Did the Bears release it? It looks like they did, because you guys are commenting in the live chat right now. Let's see. Still no confirmation. Okay, I guess not. Okay, we'll keep going through this. So Jaylon Hutchings, a guy we brought in from Texas A&M, did not end up making this roster. He did not get enough time, unfortunately. Still a young guy, could be on the practice squad. He showed a lot of potential. He had 8 sacks last year as a defensive tackle for Texas A&M. So unfortunately, he did not make this roster. But Michael Dwumfour, who didn't do much, he did not make this roster. Another shocking one to me that was waived was defensive tackle Byron Cowart. Strong, nice preseason, really good veteran to have on your roster. Did well in this defensive scheme. Bears are rumored to want to bring him back as a practice squad guy, but I haven't seen anything otherwise. The Bears obviously aren't going to bring him in back yet at the moment. But yeah, no, Brian Cowart not going to be a part of the Chicago Bears team at the moment. This obviously happened after we brought in Chris Williams in a trade. You don't trade a guy and then release him a couple days later, especially when Poles loves his draft capital. So Byron Cowart, not on this team. Local Chicago good. And DaShaun Mallory did not make this team either. He's on waivers. Edge, Khalid Kareem on waivers. Lots of experienced Notre Dame guy. I thought he had a solid preseason in camp. He looked like he was really gelling well with the other guys. So unfortunately, he did not make it. Linebacker Javin White did not make this roster. We brought him in as a free agent. Linebacker Colin Johnson, former UCLA linebacker. Solid special teamer. Not going to make it, but expected to be back on the practice squad according to reports. Safety Adrian Colbert, which was a shock to a lot of people. He had 4 pass deflections and 4 tackles this preseason and a really solid camp, picking off Caleb Williams multiple times. It's a veteran. You want to go with younger guys. You want the athleticism. So, unfortunately, Adrian Colbert, it won't be on the Chicago Bears, but fortunately for him, he had a really solid preseason. I like what he brought to the table. I think that he will be on another team very shortly. Let's go a little bit more into the guys. Defensive back Leon Jones and Quindell Johnson did not make this roster, unfortunately. Peter LeBlanc did not make the roster. John Jackson was waived. Wide receiver Colin Johnson, a big Chicago Bears favorite, did not make this roster either. Unfortunately, this hurts Bears fans a lot. I know he had the massive Hall of Fame game, and I really, really was happy for him. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're not going to make the roster if you don't play games and don't practice. So he's expected to come back on the practice squad, though. I think he is a valuable guy to have. Tight end Stephen Carlson was also waived. Ron, I see your comment. I think that he'll be a practice squad guy too. That was the rumor. And then punter Corliss Waitman, who was better than Trenton Gill, which Trenton Gill had that 73-yard punt in Denver, which was a little bit annoying. But Torrey Taylor, shout out to him. Like, we have our punter for the future. This guy, it's unfortunate. You're not going to keep 2 punters on the roster, but maybe he'll be a practice squad guy. So things are exciting from that standpoint. So from an injured reserve standpoint, Ian Wheeler, the running back that a lot of people love this preseason, was put on injured reserve. I like the way that we kept Wheeler on the roster. He's very talented, very, valuable to have. I like what he brings to the table from a blocking, receiving, and running. He's an all-around back, and I think that's super, really good stuff here to have on the roster. So, he's a doctor. He knows his body probably better than the trainers to a degree, maybe. But, yeah, he's on IR. The Bears put him on IR this past weekend, so I was happy that they kept Wheeler, and I know a lot of you guys are happy about that too. Before we get a little bit more the rest into this roster, please again hit the like button on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications. Right now we're going through all the roster cuts. A lot of guys got cut from this roster, unfortunately. Wishing them the best, but they could come back on the practice squad. Let's hit over 100 likes if we haven't already. I don't have a chance to see it. I know Santana will definitely give that call out for me. But please like and subscribe. Let's hit 18,000 before the beginning of the season. That's a big goal of mine over here at Just Another Year. So continuing with the cuts that have happened in other roster moves, wide receiver Nsimba Webster had a successful surgery today. Really excited about that because he did have a really good preseason, kick return wise and wide receiver wise. That huge game that he ends in Kansas City was a ton of fun to watch. So Nsimba Webster is on IR at the moment. He got the surgery, so good things there, and he tweeted that it went well. So happy to hear that from Nsimba Webster. Defensive back Douglas Coleman III, who went down, had to get carted off the field and rushed to the hospital during the Kansas City Chiefs game. He is also on injured reserve. He's still a Chicago Bear. Heard that he's doing a lot better from various different sources. He was released from the hospital, so all good things there as well. Very scary injury. It's the worst part of football, but he's doing well, to say the least. The shocking one that I saw this morning from Brad Biggs was that Patrick Scales was put on the IR, which is crazy. Absolutely shocked by that. Did not see this injury happening. He did play in the Chiefs game a little bit, but then we didn't see him again. So was really shocked by the Patrick Scales news, a little bit worried about it. But we do have Cameron Leons, who did play in that Chiefs game and did play later in the preseason. So he will be the long snapper for the next at least 4 weeks for the Chicago Bears. Let's keep going through things. Please continue to hit that like button. By the way, we got over 300 people in here. Let's get over 100 right now. So those are the cuts that have happened so far. Now, I do have some confirmations who have made this Chicago Bears roster. Oh, and then one more from a cuts perspective. The Bears will be cutting Kareem Blasingame, terminating his contract, but are expected to re-sign him tomorrow. Just a quick roster move. Bears are adjusting a few things right now, so keep a lookout for that. Shout out to everybody that's been in here this whole time. 30 minutes, 366 people. really good stuff. So that's all the cuts that have happened so far. Going into the offensive 53-man roster that have been confirmed to make it, obviously Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent will be on this roster for the upcoming season. I mean, I sure would hope so. Another cut just happened. Yep, another confirmed cut. The Bears are confirmed to have cut Brendan Bates from the Chicago Bears. According to Patrick Finley, he could bounce back to the practice squad if he doesn't get claimed by someone else first. Unfortunately, I liked him a lot. But yeah, it's, that's another big roster cut right there. So Brendan Bates has been cut by the Chicago Bears. So the Bears tight end room at the moment currently stands at Cole Kmet, Mercedes Lewis, and Gerald Everett. So the Bears have their tight end room locked in at the moment, which I'm kind of shocked by because Shane Waldron runs a very tight end friendly offense, which is weird. Let's go into the 53-man roster real quick. Quarterback Caleb Williams will be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, along with Tyson Bagent as quarterback 2. Then you have running back DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, and Rashawn Johnson that are making this roster. There are no fullbacks at the moment because Kareem Blasingame will have his contract terminated, but the Bears are expected to pick him up again. Good stuff there. From a wide receiver standpoint, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Tyler Scott are the locks that I'm seeing at the moment. Velus Jones, I don't know if they're putting in the running back room or in the wide receiver room, but apparently he did make this roster. But if he doesn't, obviously we'll be live to break it down for you guys. Offensive tackle, Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, and Karan Amagaji. Offensive guards, Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis, Matt Pryor, and Ryan Bates. Center, Coleman Shelton, and Doug Kramer. So that's your offense right there. Pretty solid offense, a lot better than last year, to say the least, I think. So good things overall from there. Let's go over to the defense that has been confirmed as well. From a defensive line perspective, Andrew Billings, Javon Dexter Sr., Zach Pickens, and Chris Williams are the confirmed defensive linemen on this roster at the moment, along with Edge, Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Austin Booker, Darrell Taylor are the 4 edges. I'm really hoping Daniel Hardy makes this roster. I know a lot of you guys want him to make this as well. I really hope Daniel Hardy makes this roster, guys. I think he's a special player. I think that all things good to go from that standpoint. Let's see. Did the Bears release it? God, this is crazy that they still haven't released it. It's been 33 minutes after now. Yeah, what the hell? From a linebacker's perspective, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, and Amin Miga have also made the roster, according to reports. Cornerback Jaylon Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson, along with Kyler Gordon, Kevin Byard, and Jaquan Brisker. The roster bubble guys that are still that are rumored to have made this roster, but I'm not saying it for sure, is Josh Blackwell, Terrell Smith, and Elijah Hicks. This was a tough roster to make, guys. I mean, seriously, really tough stuff for the Bears to make. I'm shocked with how overall, just tweeted phones. What does that mean? Ryan Poles just tweeted phones. I don't know what that means either. But I'm shocked by, one, the Bears not releasing it sooner, but 2, how tough it was to make this roster. Poles said it himself. It was tough. Things are looking fun for the Chicago Bears. Let's see. Are expected. Okay. New news from the 53-man roster is the Bears are expected to place defensive end Jacob Martin on short-term IR. He suffered a toe injury on the first day of practice in pads. This means he could potentially return for week 5. So it sounds like Jacob Martin will be on the Chicago Bears for a little bit longer. I don't know how that looks for Daniel Hardy, though. That tweet right there does look a little bit interesting. Whew. Tough. All right. Well, nothing there. We might as well just all hang on and have a good time. I appreciate you guys all tuning in, obviously, as well, to hear out what's going on with the Bears live. There is no confirmation either if Reeder Stewart has made this team. That's the big one. I know that. So we already have a few DBs locked in, but in a clip of him picking up a phone. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Why did Poles just tweet that? If someone could send me this tweet right now, let me know what you guys, is that a Bears tweet? I don't know what that tweet means, guys, to be honest with you. I'm not seeing a red phone tweet from Ryan Poles anywhere. So we'll see what ends up happening. Someone put it in the chat right now. I can open it up. So we'll see. It's Ryan Poles eats. Oh, guys, it's a parody account. He's just messing with everybody. Okay. That's 34 minutes late. I don't even know if other teams have released it. Let's go to the Chicago Bears website. They might have released it and just no one's looking at it right now. Let's see what we got. Okay, we have waived 9 players. Nothing there. Okay, roster moves. Nothing yet. Wow. Okay, wait. Something's happening. Okay, hang on. There are a lot of names. Like I just watched names get removed from this. Okay, let's see what we got here. It's definitely shorter than it was yesterday. Okay, so right now the Bears say that the roster at the moment, obviously this is pending change. Josh Blackwell, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Adrian Colbert, Kyler Gordon, Elijah Hicks, Jaylon Johnson, Jalen Jones. Okay, so let's go through who's already been cut because names are being removed. Oh, wow. They're literally updating on the site right now. Josh Blackwell, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Kyler Gordon, Elijah Hicks, Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Owens, Terrell Smith, Tyreek Stevenson, Andrew Billings, Austin Booker, Javon Dexter Sr., Jacob Martin, who's on IR, Zach Pickens. It looks like Dominique Robinson made the roster. Montez Sweat, Darrell Taylor, DeMarcus Walker, Chris Williams, Kareem Blasingame, who will be bringing back. It looks like they haven't just removed his name yet. Cairo Santos, Micah Baskerville, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Amen, Jack Sanborn, Cameron Leons, Patrick Scales, who will be on IR, Karan Abagaji, Ryan Bates, Larry Borum, Nate Davis, Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones, Doug Kramer, Bill Murray, Matt Pryor, Coleman Shelton, Darnell Wright, Torrey Taylor, Tyson Bagent, Caleb Williams, Khalil Herbert, Travis Homer, Rashawn Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet, Mercedes Lewis, Keenan Allen, Velus Jones, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and Tyler Scott. Okay, they're updating it literally on the site, but they haven't released it yet. Okay. Wow, so the Bears social media is updating the site, or whoever's managing their site. It's being updated right now. Okay, so that could be the team right there. I know that there was a few names. Okay, it's from a parody account. Thanks, Blue Dragon Goonies, but it's not real. Okay, so the Bears look like they're on the site making their official moves. Okay, that's exciting stuff, guys. Please, if you haven't already, if you please could, I want to hear it in the live chat right now while we're waiting for the official to be put out there. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. We got 440 people in here. Hit that like button if you're excited about the Chicago Bears team and think that we're going to make a lot of noise this year. Let's see the Bears support, along with commenting below who you want to make this roster that's on the roster bubble that hasn't been announced yet. And if you haven't already, please could hit that subscribe button. Help me hit 18,000 before week 1. That's the goal. Let's get to it. Very excited. And again, if you haven't already, get your ticket to our viewing party now and for week 2 against the Houston Texans, Sunday Night Football at Rizzo's Bar and Inn, partnered with Freshie Organic Tequila Seltzer and Authentico Organic Tequila. Super excited about this. We have a bunch of other Bears content creators coming, like the Windy City Productions, a few other people, Jacob Infante, and more are coming. So please make sure you check that out in order to get your tickets today. Tickets are $20, include a margarita and your entry into the party. All right. Well, they're updating the roster on the site, but they haven't released it yet on Twitter, which stinks. So that obviously stinks. Let's see. Any other moves? Wow. A little shocked by this, guys. Not going to lie to you, but it is what it is. Let's see what we got in the comments. Could Poles be making a deal right now? Could you imagine if that was the case? If that's why we're waiting so long for this? Okay. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. Because I would like to be live. Obviously, this is a very long video. Let's do this because I want to make sure that when the official roster does drop, we are live for you guys. Okay, let's see this. We're gonna end this live for a minute. I'm gonna make another live for when it drops. So thanks for tuning into this one. I will have another live going in just a few minutes when the Bears officially, unless they did right now. Let's see. Up. Nothing yet. Okay. Well, I will have a new live going for when the Bears officially drop it. But something could be happening because it's been 40 minutes plus and the Bears still haven't done it. So let's see. So make sure you guys hit that like button real quick. And I want to make sure that I give you guys a live stream breaking down the exact roster, because this is 40 minutes in now and people aren't going to be able to see this after. So want to make sure that you guys see it as soon as possible when it drops. So they're taking their time. They could be making another deal. They're obviously, don't you quit on me. But I appreciate that, guys. Okay, so we'll be back in a little bit. Look for the next live stream. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in. We'll be back in a little bit.